In the secluded town of Dinglewell, strange occurrences had always been whispered about, but recently the rumour had taken a darker turn. The townfolk spoke of a figure known only as Mr. Wigglewhisper, an entity that seemed to appear at the dead of night, leaving behind a trail of fear and confusion. Giggles McSprinkles was the first to encounter the eerie presence. One night she was preparing to close up her candy shop. She heard a faint, unsettling giggle that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Turning around, she spotted a shadowy figure at the edge of the shop's light, its eyes glowing a sickly green. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. The figure didn't respond, just continued to giggle softly before disappearing into the night. Shaken, Giggles locked up quickly and hurried home, her mind racing with fear. The next morning she confided in her friend, Snickers Snickledoodle, who ran the local bakery. "Snickers, something strange happened last night. I think I saw Mr. Wigglewhisper." Snickers raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Wigglewhisper? That's just a silly story parents tell their kids to keep them from wandering off at night." Giggles shook her head. "No, it felt real. Too real." Later that week, more sightings of Mr. Wigglewhisper were reported. Bubbles Fluffernut, the town librarian, claims he saw the figure lurking among the bookshelves just before closing. Each encounter was marked by the same eerie giggle and those haunting green eyes. One night, a group of friends decided to investigate the legend. Giggles, Snickers, Bubbles and their friend Chuckles McJingles, armed with flashlights and shaky resolve, ventured into the old abandoned carnival on the outskirts of Dinglewell. The carnival had long been closed, its rides rusted and its tents tattered, making it the perfect setting for a haunting. As they explored the dilapidated grounds, they felt an unusual chill in the air. The giggles echoed around them, seeming to come from every direction at once. They huddled together, their flashlights flickering as though struggling against an unseen force. Suddenly, Snickers spotted movement near the funhouse. "There! Did you see that?" he whispered, pointing. The group cautiously approached, the giggles growing louder with each step. Inside the funhouse, the mirrors distorted their reflections, creating an eerie maze of twisted images. They navigated through the labyrinth, the giggles now a constant, maddening presence. At the center of the funhouse, they found a small, dusty room with a single old-fashioned gramophone. The giggles was coming from the gramophone, its record spinning on his own. Chuckles reached out to stop it, but as soon as he touched it, the giggles stopped abruptly. The room plunged into an eerie silence. Then the figure appeared. Mr. Wigglewhisper himself, standing in the doorway with his glowing green eyes and grin that stretched impossibly wide. "Welcome," he whispered, his voice sending chills down their spines. "I've been waiting for you." The friends turned around, but the mirrors now reflected not their own image, but those of twisted, ghostly figures reaching out for them. Mr. Wigglewhisper moved closer, his giggles now a low, menacing chuckle. "You can't leave," he said, his voice echoing through the funhouse. "This is my domain, and now it's yours too." The friends screamed, the voice swallowed by the darkness. In Dinglewell they were never seen again. The abandoned carnival remained a silent testament to the legends of Mr. Wigglewhisper. And on quiet nights, if you listen closely, you can still hear the faint, eerie giggle echoing through the town. A reminder that some legends are far more real and far more terrifying than anyone could imagine. Welcome to Stories with Daniel A. Johnson. I'm your host, Daniel A. Johnson. Thank you very much for listening. And don't let Mr. Wigglewhisper catch you in the dark.